land or buy a home. But before that, Ethel, I'd like you to tell us what are some of the things I need to know and consider before buying a land or even buying a house.
A land.
So let's say a
Okay,
land.
a land. Okay, so you have to get, again, we can't run away from our finances. How much money you have available.
What's the average amount you can have to get a land somewhere?
It depends on the location you want. Somebody would have 100,000 Ghana cedis and wants a land in East Legon. It is not done. It's
you get like, I'm being honest, you get what, like a one plot or a half plot in East Legon?
No, you can't get a plot 100,000 Ghana cedis. No,
wow.
No. Not anywhere in East Legon, nor its environs. You won't get it.
You want to change
it. That's to be realistic.
Right.
So if you have 100,000, then you are thinking of maybe Apollonia or Yarefa, you know, those areas. Yes.
Hills?
No, you won't get a plot in East Legon Hills for
100,000 Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis, you won't get.
Amazing. Okay. Please, so go on.
Yes, so how much money you have available will determine which area that you would get a plot. So once you go in and first of all, you have to ask to view the plot. You look at it physically and it's something that you want. You have to ask for a site plan to run a search at the Land Commission and make sure that whoever is selling the plot actually bears the title or name appears on the search. So once that is done, then you want to make payments. It depends whether there's payment plan available or you have to pay outright. Once that is done, and deed of assignment will be given to you by the vendor. And there is the deed that usually you should know whether you are getting an assignment or a lease, because a lease, the vendor will give you, will not release all his interest to you. But with an assignment, you'll be giving all of the vendor's interest. So that is a bit dicey. You should get somebody who is well versed in these things to be able to interpret what the indenture is actually talking about before you decide whether you want to get it or not.
So those are the main things you need to know before acquiring the land.
Yeah. You should know the lease period, whether it's 99, 65, 70, or freehold. You should know all that.
I wish you were educated more on that, but there's not much time for that. But you did say that one of the things to know is first of all having your money in your hand, having your finances. And I want to know, fund manager, if there are resources, available means to get money to probably get a land somewhere.
Yes, they are. So sometimes some developers buy large tracts of land and sell it in plots, small plots, and would take a payment plan for that. So if you have a bit of a down payment, maybe you saved up some 100, 500 other people's money to build your wealth, you'll be paying it off, and it helps people force themselves to save. You know, when you have a loan, you have to pay off the loan. They deduct it immediately, the salary comes in. But if it were up to you to say you save 500 cedis a month or 1,000, something will come and say, oh, this time I'm doing this, I'm doing that part. You are forced to save, and by the time halfway through, you have enough wealth because you are paying down the principal over time. So if it's a 10-year mortgage, by 8 years, it's likely that you can even pay off the last 2 years, and you have a huge store of value waiting for you. So I would definitely go for a mortgage rather than wait to start it out on your own.
Young people, I'd rather go for a mortgage than wait to start out. And then what I want to ask is, should more land or homeowners offer installment pay, especially because of how difficult the economy is? Do you think that these people should have installments, even with houses and homes when you're buying it?
Yes, and there are already such arrangements. Most of the developers have self-payments plan, where you can have maybe, but that's short. I think the maximum I have seen or heard is 3 years. And if you are buying a house of about 800,000 Ghana cedis, yes, then for 3 years, that's really short. Then again, the mortgage issue comes in. But as I said, if you're not a government worker, yes, you can also take mortgage. And even if you're a business person, and you only have to be able to, the highest mortgage would pay for you will be 80%. So it means that you, the buyer, should be able to afford the 20% to the vendor. Then the mortgage company will pay the 80% for you. And you get to pay that. I think the maximum is about 20 years, depending on your age. That is, if you won't turn 60 by that time, yes, then you can have your mortgage.
Very interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please, your final advice as we move forward.
Well, I would want to advise the youth, in as much as everybody is anxious, or everybody wants to own their own home and not to go to rent because of all the issue that comes with rental, you should set your priorities right. And then even if you have money that can, somebody will have like 500,000 Ghana cedis and wants a house in East Legon or Ashali Butche, it's not viable. When you recommend a home in, let's say, Kaswa, Dawenya, Pampam, they don't want it. And they're like, what do you actually want? That is it. They keep saying it's far. They keep saying it's far, but you can't afford the house in town. So what do we do? Because you tell them, when they call, you give them the prices, they're like, oh, it's too much. Okay, we have this here. It's too far.